Hello, my name is Mathias and I'm gonna show you the code I made for my slideshow as our third hand in image processing slash programming. And what we were supposed to do was to program a slideshow which contained several transitions, and I made three transitions, one changing the alpha, a second one changing the brightness, and the third one putting in different parts of the picture. And I'm not going to say that much more, I'm just going to show it to you, and here is the slideshow, and then I'm going to tell you about the code, of course. And then we are back. That was the entire slideshow, and now it just loops around doing the same. Okay, what I then used to make my slideshow is these three classes inside Open Framework, which I used a image loader example and then I just modified it a lot. But as we see here, we have the three different classes, and this class is where we create all the variables and all the functions. And also here in this Open Framework, we already got some made-in functions, which we can't really access, or maybe we can, but we're not supposed to do so now. And here you see I make all my images, an of image, the variables of the image, and here I make some integers for how wide the width of the picture should be and the height of the picture. And I have total pixels down here, an integer, and I have an integer saying darker or brighter, which will control whether the transition should go from light to dark and from dark to light. And here we got the unsigned chart, which the data which is unsigned charts, and we got a texture down here, and we got floating numbers, the alpha counter time for each picture, and speed. We got integer active pick in order to see which picture we are dealing with, and we also got a unsigned chart that picks the amount of pictures we're going to use. And that's pretty much it from here, and you will see how they work further on in the other class. And also we have this main class, which up here sets the size of the window popping up whenever you run this code, and it's actually the same as the picture height and picture width reverse. And here we got the actual interesting code where all the transitions are, and yeah, we're just gonna take it step for step, so enjoy. First we start off including the test app H, the class we just made over here. So we have all the variables and functions. Then first we have the first function, the setup, which calls all these variables down here when we enter the first frame. And as we see, we set the picture width and height, and we set the time for each picture, which means how many times the counter is gonna count before it resets itself. So if we put this higher, the time for the pictures is gonna be stay there for a longer time. And then we have the speed of the counter, how much it's gonna count for each time we update the update function, or we run the update function. You'll also get to that. And we got the darker brighter, which is assigned to 0. We got counter, which is assigned to 0 as a start point. Alpha, which is also assigned to 0, and active pick, the actual picture we're going to start from, and that's number 0 and our 0 index array, which is down here. And before I say anything here, you just see here we just load the different pictures, which should also be in the right pixels, apparently, otherwise it will not work. And then we put them inside this pix array, so it's easier to work with. And then we set the background to 0, but we're not actually gonna see the background unless we make the window bigger, so it doesn't really matter. And then we have set the data to a new unsigned character, which is the size of our picture times 3. And the reason why that is, this is although a pointer, and we haven't really been educated enough in pointers yet, but it's but this is what we have to do in order to get a whole chunk of data inside this new unsigned chart, which we're gonna use later on. And also we have the total pictures, which is equal to not actually the total pictures, but the total pictures width, sorry for that, and pictures height times 3. And the reason why we times it with 3 is that we use 3 kinds of colors, and that is, as you see here, this is allocated to our texture, which is the picture width, the picture height, and GL, red, green, and blue, which is the color we use. So that's the reason for that. And then we go to the function called update. The update function will run as many times as the computer allows it to. So it will run very many times, but not as many times when it's not doing anything. Then it can not load that much or run that much. But as we see, then it runs all the time, and it sets the counter to plus equal to the speed, which was 0.02. The speed, and then it start counting, and then if the counter comes over the time for each picture, it's gonna reset itself, and it's also gonna put up the next picture, the next active picture. And then we have down here, we have if the active picture is equal to 10, which is the last picture, the active picture is going to be assigned to 0 again. So we also have a loop down here, which loops the whole slideshow. Then we have the first transition we're going to make, and this transition is going to appear whenever the pick, active pick, is equal to the position 0 in the pick array, pix array, or equal to 3, 6, or 9. And then what is going to happen here is that it's also going to reset the alpha and the darker brighter, which we're going to use in a different code. Also, and then because we use it in a different code, we have to reset it from here. And then the alpha is assigned to counter, so it's actually counting as many times as the counter. It's actually the same. And then if alpha is less than 0.99, then this loop will run. And what the loop tells us is that, as we see down here, we have some data which we're going to use in order to put out the texture picture. And what this contains, I'm going to tell you. It contains the picture, the actual, no, this is, oh sorry, this is the first picture over here to modulus 11, and that is going to, and then we have all the information, all the data here, which we're gonna time with 1.0 minus alpha, and as alpha becomes bigger, this becomes close to 0, and then this disappears. And also, as alpha becomes bigger than 0, this will slightly starting to appear. So it's gonna go, this is going to disappear and this is going to appear. So we have an alpha transition. Yeah, and then that's actually it for this transition, and I'm going to go to the next transition now. For this second transition, we're gonna make it the picture go darker down to black and then brighten up again for the next picture. And it's gonna do that for a picture in the location 2, 5, and 8 in the array. So what we do first, we make an if sentence stating that if darker bright is equal to 0, then it's going to be darker. And then we make a loop so it counts for all the pixels, and this is not right. This should just go away. And then the data, the way we do it is that the data I equals to, oh sorry, I forgot, we need to have this. We just do the same as before, make alpha have the same speed as the counter. And then down here in data, the data which is going to be printed out is going to be equal to a picture modulus 11 times 1.0 minus alpha. So, and then if the counter is bigger than 0.99, the darker brighter is going to be assigned to 1. So this alpha is going to be bigger until it reaches 0.99, and then this is about almost 0 times the picture, and it's going to appear as black. And then darker bright is going to be assigned to 1, and then if darker bright is equal to 1, oh, then this function runs, or this statement runs. And we also make a for loop because we need to get all the pixels activated in here, and then we simply do the somewhat the opposite. So this turns dark for a while, and then alpha is then set to whenever it's bigger than 0.01, alpha is going to minus equal itself with 0.01, meaning that this is going to be a smaller number, and then it's going to get closer to 1 and then time it again, and then instead of disappear it's going to appear. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for the second transition. And I'm going to go to the third transition now. For my third transition, I have which is going to appear at 1, 4, 7, and 10 in the array of pictures. We make the chunks go in, the chunks of the picture go in at a different time. And the way we do it is that we set, again, we need to have all the pixels encountered, and then we say if I is less than the total of pixels divided by 4, meaning the quarter of the stage, and the counter is bigger than 1, then this then the data for one of the chunks from the fourth quarter of the picture chunk is going to appear. And that's basically whole. And then we say, see it down here, it's going to appear, just pop up, no alpha included in here. And that's pretty much the same with the other if sentences. They just have like a different threshold. So this has like a threshold from the quarter of the pixels to the half of the picture, the quarter of the picture to the half of the picture, and then this is gonna pop up whenever a counter is above 0.4. So it's gonna pop up at different times at different places, and it's gonna look pretty awesome, I think. And then the last thing we do in this update function is that we actually set the texture, load the data which we have found into the texture, and that's the data, and that's the picture width, the picture height, and the colors we use. And I see I don't have any more time, so I'm just gonna make a little cut.